We gotta get some, you're missing out the fire department's Christmas things here, and I mean, it's like, I don't even know what the least thing we can do is have a little thing going on here.
All right, here it is.
I'd like to welcome everybody to our regularly scheduled DSS meeting. I will remind everyone in attendance and those among the board to please silence your mobile device. If I have lost mine. I'll ask Commissioner Roberts to lead us in pledge. I'm sorry, I'll ask Commissioner Roberts to lead us in invocation.
Our most kind of gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord, for each and every household represented. Lord, I pray, Lord, that you give us clear minds and thoughts to deal with the county's business. And thank you for all the things you do. Always pray rest in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And Commissioner Hall, if you would put us in pledge.
Attention, salute, pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 5 on the agenda tonight is the ethics awareness, conflict of interest reminder. Are there any ethics awareness or potential conflicts of interest that need to be noted tonight? Hearing none, I'll move on to item number 6, additions or changes to the agenda. Does anyone have any additions or changes to the agenda this evening?
Chairman, I would like to make a motion to add item Heather, what do you suggest we put it under 9?
Yeah, 9B.
Okay. 9B for our 2024 meeting schedule that we have to adopt tonight.
We have a motion from Commissioner Harding to Commissioner. I'm really messing it up tonight. I apologize. We have a motion from Commissioner Masters to add item B under number 9, 2024 meeting agenda adoption. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a second. I think Commissioner Roberts got the second. All those in favor, vote by usual sign. That motion passes. And I'll entertain a motion, we adopt the agenda. So those changes. Got a motion from Commissioner Roberts. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Harding. All those in favor, vote by usual signs. That passes. Item number 8 is the approval of the minutes from November the 6th and October the 2nd. Are there any changes to the minutes that need to take place?
Yes, Chairman, on the opening minutes. And those of attendance, at least member of our ground staff. That needs to be changed to Commissioner Roberts.
Is that on both? Is that on
Just the
both?
front, the first one. Good catch.
For those changes, getting those changes, is there a motion we adopt minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, vote by usual sign. That motion carries.
Thank you.
Brings us to item number 9, our reports and presentation tonight. And we have foster care sponsorships. Did our director or our supervisor of social services or the supervisor of child protective services want to do that as their preference?
Elizabeth.
Okay. All right, we have Miss Elizabeth Custody joining us tonight to give that update on the foster care child sponsorships.
So historically, we have given Christmas gifts to children in foster care specifically for them, but we found that we had a need and we expressed a need to the members of Mitchell County, and we got a huge response back. I mean, overwhelming, great response back, that we were able to pass that great wealth on to other kids, which will be kids that were in assessments and kids that are in in-home services. So we were able to help 41 children with Christmas gifts. With much thanks to you guys.
And I think, our thinking was when we initially put this on here was to kind of raise awareness there was a need for folks to sponsor some of these children in foster care and, within just a few days that
Just blossom.
yeah, that need was really met. So, excellent work. We appreciate you. Any questions for, Ms. Custody?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10 is our director's update.
We added it.
I'm sorry. Item number 9B is the 2024 meeting schedule. So
And it will.
it'll
if we leave
mirror,
it how it is, it will mirror the first meeting of the month for the commission meeting, and it will start at 5:30 if we leave it how it is.
so
We want to change that.
I guess there's two, this question's twofold. Do we want to keep the meeting time the same at 5:30? And, are we good with it being the, first meeting of the month, before the commission meeting? And I did check with, council, and we are required by statute to have a meeting, DSS meeting once a month. So I'll open the floor to any discussion on that.
I'm good with 5:30, keeping the way it is.
You're good with 5:30?
Agree.
Does that work well with everybody's schedule?
If that's, yeah, I'll get that if that's what everybody's getting.
Do we, well, I guess we'll talk about that. I was gonna say, do we need to adjust? Is the time frame okay? I know sometimes we run over and we need that extra padding in between, DSS and the regular board meeting. But oftentimes now we're kind of getting done in a 35-40 minute mark. So I guess we'll discuss that during the board meeting, the board commission meeting, keeping that time the same. With that said, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the 2024 meeting schedule, to mirror the, proposed meeting schedule in the, board of commissioners packet. Hello. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, vote by usual sign. That motion carries, and we adopted that meeting schedule, and we'll get that out to you guys. So Taylor, can we get that out to Randy? Thanks. Brings us to item number 10, the director's update, and we'll invite our director forward. I think Ms. Custody will join us again in a second momentarily. All right.
So good evening.
Good evening.
I first want to say that December is already turning out to be a very busy month for DSS. As you all know, Medicaid expansion rolled out December 1. Also, our LEAP energy assistance rolled out December 1. So as you can imagine, Friday was nonstop phone calls, people coming in, that sort of thing. So it was very, very hectic and crazy on Friday, and it still continued this morning. So a lot going on within our agency. We do have an uptick, of course, in applications for a Medicaid expansion. So we are really navigating that. We're still down for that position that we're interviewing for. We're still continuing with interviews, but we're still down that position. So the other workers have just, they've just came together and they're splitting these intakes and that sort of thing. They're really, it's a huge team and they support each other. So I really appreciate that. It's nice to see that happening and a lot of discussion and that sort of thing in the agency. So I really appreciate my staff pulling together. And we're continuing those interviews for the expansion position. So if anyone knows a possible candidate for that, we would love to have an application. Also wanted to let you know that our last multidisciplinary team and our law enforcement meeting for November was held on the 14th. We did have some guest speakers. We had the Healthy Impact Group, which talked about, it's a pilot that is being offered right now in Mitchell County, offers several assistance and resources for families. We had them to speak, as well as a life station, and they came and spoke. This is something like Life Alert. And we really talked about exploring options for our seniors And our case managers may be using this application to have another set of eyes on our seniors, and they can actually, send us information in regards to how often these seniors are needing help and that sort of thing. So it's a really nice possibility for us to, match up services. So I'm really looking forward to working with them. Our next MDT and the law enforcement meeting is the 12th of December. Tomorrow, we actually have our community child protection team as well as our child fatality team, and that's at 3:30 tomorrow. I wanted to let you know that, I think it was in September, October, we talked about the candidate qualifications training, and we talked about the MOU with the state and how, we would really like to have Glenda trained for that so she can join us in on that MOU. And they have actually sent out another opportunity for us to complete that training. So Glenda is registered along with myself again. I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the training as well. And so that is going to be Tuesday, tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. So that will be happening. So she'll have completed her training and we can get that MOU updated, maybe the first of the year.
And just to kind of refresh everybody's memory, that's so they could bid out their candidates and not have that huge time frame turnaround state that oftentimes they get back on the, so those candidates have moved on.
I also want to let you know that we do have our foster parent Christmas gathering. That will be the 12th of December at 6 p.m. We would love to have you join us. That's going to be at CJ's Barbecue and Spruce Pine, there beside the Subway. So there'll be lots of festivities for the parents, just meet and greet, so that sort of thing. So we would love to have you join us.
So it's the 12th.
It is the 12th at 6 o'clock. And then also at the last couple of meetings, we discussed the potential of having some volunteers or paid volunteers to help in supervision of our foster kids in the office at times when needed. And I was charged, Sean and I were with coming up with a training plan or a training kind of idea on what that would look like. And Taylor handed those out to you. So, and our attorney has not had a chance to review the confidentiality. Of course, we'll let him do that before we put the final stamp of approval on this. But we were thinking as far as some training for these volunteers, there's a website, Fostering MC, and they have so many trainings on there, and they're free and they're really quick. Like the links here, the orientation for prospective foster parents. I thought that would be really great for them to review that, because you never know, we may get a potential foster parent out of that. So I thought that would be a nice introduction to that. And then there's one on trauma and behaviors, because sometimes these kids have different behaviors because of all that they've been through. So these are very short. I put the time span there so you kind of know. So that just kind of gives them a really quick introduction to some training. And then on the back of that, you'll see like some in-house training. And this is where we would actually sit down with them one-on-one, child-specific information, because each kiddo that's going to potentially be in the office, there's going to be different needs. So, we would talk about the emergency procedures, safety precautions, a daily routine. In the past, this has been a big issue because we have some staff that let kids stay up late, some kids that want them in bed by 9 o'clock. So we have to come up with a routine. All of that will be established initially. Some behavior modifications. So really looking at, it might be a 2-year-old, which very rarely happens, but we're just, big picture here. It might be a 2-year-old versus a teen. So you're definitely going to have different behaviors and that kind of thing. You're going to have different ways to deal with our kids. We may have some that really interact with women better than men and that sort of thing. So it's really specific to that child.
I think the majority of placement kids we have placement issues with are sibling groups or older teens.
Yeah,
That's
older
the
teens,
bulk of
yeah.
what it is.
Yeah, most 9 times out of 10.
And they're really great about finding placement and leaving no stone unturned. And when they don't when they come up short, they're really great to pitch in. And this is kind of twofold, me asking Miss Elizabeth to come tonight. Also, at some point want to brag on what she does, but I'm sorry. It's your out there.
She deserves it. So yeah, so ways to really engage with the kids, medication management. Unfortunately, we have some of our older teens that are using the meds. Concerns regarding, I put in here, if you have any concerns, potentially with staff, you may, I want to make sure that they're addressing that with Sean or myself. We're gonna complete that background check with them, and then we're gonna review the confidentiality and sign. So this is just a rough draft of what we were kind of thinking with this. And then on the following page is a confidentiality statement. So of course, we'll have our attorney to review that and see if we need to make any changes.
Just to refresh everybody and those that may be listening online, these individuals would always be paired with. That's the kind of record, generally, we have, 2 social workers if we have an event where placement, isn't found, and we have to have kids there or not. But this would just kind of help with social, with our small staff, burnout, overtime, the whole 9 yards.
Chairman Pittman, I'll add that, Tammy and I did a cost analysis. She gave me some numbers, and then I kind of paired those up with some projections. And there is the potential for savings to the county as opposed to 2 social workers, where you have a social worker and maybe a contract worker paid somewhere around $15 an hour. I think $15 an hour showed that it could be profitable. It saves on overtime, and it also saves on the straight wage as well. And some folks, you also have to factor in, may want to volunteer, and some may just want a lower rate of pay. Some might say, well, all I need is $10 to cover my gas and a little bit of a meal at mealtime. So if the folks are negotiable on what the volunteers might take, I think we could make a break even point running around $15 an hour on any kind of projected positions that are contracted into the county with the training and all the check boxes met.
I think when we envisioned this, we kind of, envisioned the way that Commissioner Robert Steiner schools, the way we do subs, where we have a list of individuals that we could call in this emergency situation. And I don't think we've had one in several months. Sure, maybe I shouldn't say that. Sorry, Elizabeth, but things have been running well. But when that emergency strikes, it's better to be prepared before than trying to play catch up. So that's what we're thinking with this. We didn't have any issues for a long time, and just all of a sudden we had some really tough challenges that led to some major overtime and placement hurdles, and it's just tough on our staff to have to work around the clock, and a lot of them are always willing to do that. So we recognize that and want to put some things in place to alleviate that for you guys. Any questions for Wendy?
Anything additional you would like us to add to that?
I guess at some point we need to proceed out. Would it be best, and this might be a question for, I guess, Glenda, would it be best to advertise for this contract? Is this a position we want to advertise for and see who'd be interested in it, or is this people who want to, that maybe some staff at DSS have in mind?
My thought, Brandon, would be to advertise that, just so we would be able to see from the general public, and then of course, if there's individuals that any of us know, we'd recommend them, but it would be fair playing ground to go ahead and advertise it, equal playing.
And they wouldn't technically be employees, they would be contract workers.
Yeah, and that would be indicated in the posting.
The way I kind of envision it is maybe Ford has some time to look over this stuff, and if Ford gives us the green light to maybe move forward with having a few in place that we could call in an emergency.
And let me clarify contract versus employee from my small business side, just for the record. They would be working under an hourly wage with wages and taxes withheld. So they would technically be a low hour part-time employee. So that would, and I might have made that mistake. It's not a contract per se where or 1099, and, we are putting them on the county payroll, but it's working them intermittently with, no set hours as needed.
So they might go for months and never get a phone call.
Right.
But that's what we want. We would actually like to never use them, but, when they're needed, they're well worth, whatever it takes to get them.
Speaking along those same lines, I had an opportunity. Last week there were some people in the community that reached out to me and wanted to have a sit-down conversation, and it went really, really well. I don't want to go into a lot of detail and tell who these people were, but they're wanting to do some things to help. And we spoke along the lines of DSS and along the lines of volunteer work and so on, and so they're very, very eager. And so there's not a whole lot of detail yet, because like I said, we've met one time. And so I'll let you know a little bit more as we go, a little bit more detail. And I didn't want to give them your contact information without asking you first.
Absolutely.
But I think that, if you met them and had a good conversation with them, I think that you can see a benefit of these individuals. So,
It's exciting. Absolutely.
I'll fill you in a little bit later. Like I said, I don't want to disclose who they are just yet, so.
We other questions for me tonight? I think Elizabeth is gonna come talk about, numbers with her. Colin is out tonight, him and Tammy both.
Yes, I did get an email from Tammy, and she wanted me to let everybody know that there are no major changes to report, and she will provide an update for 2 months at the next meeting. And please excuse her.
No forward, Ms. Clay.
And again, so I was given the task to give the numbers. I'm on the other end of these numbers, usually in my position. I come up with these numbers and I give them to somebody else to report to you guys, so I'm hoping that I know how to read this part, this end.
I'll say this, our numbers, I was actually talking about our numbers, today as compared to numbers in years past. And, Elizabeth and her team, and our social workers in CPS the work they put in are the reason why these numbers look good month after month. So I wanted Elizabeth to come and, present the numbers that she impacts, every single day. So I'm sorry, Elizabeth, I'll defer back to you.
I believe you guys have this exact same paperwork. So be gentle if I miss something. Foster care for 2023, total kids in foster care, which is including the 18 to 21 children and are cleared for adoption. That number for November is 38. New in foster care in the reported month, which is November, is 1. The total of children closed, terminated, transferred from foster care, 3. Of above number of closed, how many were adopted? 0. Total cleared for adoption for November is 6. Number of foster children placed in basic foster care, 24. Number of foster children placed in level 2, which is a therapeutic foster care, is 6. Number of foster children placed in level 3 group home, 2. Number of foster children placed in IAFT is 1. Number of foster children placed in crisis center or psychiatric hospital and or a PRTF is 2. Number in VPA, which is voluntary placement agreement, foster care, ages 18 to 21 is 3. Number of foster children placed in trial home placement, 0. Number of cases needing foster care assistance from other counties, to other counties, 1. Number of foster children placed out of county, 20. Number of foster children placed in county, 18. Number of children placed in foster care, in foster homes licensed by Mitchell County DSS, 11. Number of children placed in foster home not licensed by Mitchell County, 1.
Would that be like a therapeutic foster home? Is that what that would be?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Number of children placed in Mitchell County with a parent. Oh, sorry, I skipped one. Let me back up. Number of children placed in Mitchell County with a relative or a kinship placement. That's 4. Number of children placed in Mitchell County with other court approved placement, 0. Number of children placed in Mitchell County in trial home placement, 0. Number of families in Mitchell County that have training or license or are in the licensing process, we have 3. Number of active foster care homes licensed by Mitchell County DSS, 12. Total Mitchell County DSS foster beds, 29. Available Mitchell County DSS foster beds, 18. Mitchell County DSS licensed homes for traditional foster care, 10. Traditional total beds, 24. Traditional available beds, 13. Mitchell County DSS licensed home for respite foster care, 1. Respite total beds, 2. Respite available beds, 2. Mitchell County DSS licensed homes for relative kinship foster care only, 1. Relative kinship only total beds, 3. Relative kinship only available beds, 3.
I've got a question. The number of cases needing foster care assistance to other counties, 1. Does that mean we're fostering another county's kids in that one house?
That means another county is using one of our foster homes for placement.
Okay, that's what I thought.
So I mean, it looks like, you can help us out here with this, Elizabeth. Looks like we have a lot of foster beds open, but I know some of them beds are, they want a specific population, so maybe they want,
What I have found is that they use those type of beds for, let's say a family has a child that's 5 years old, that's their biological child. They would want a child of the same sex as their child or goes to the same school as their child to make it easier to help us out.
So we may not, what I was driving at is we may not need that home, but maybe Avery has a child that fits, or Yancy
Yes, and
has
they
a
can
child
use
that fits that.
Exactly.
And I guess is that reciprocal? Are they pretty good to?
Yes, they are.
Good question, Commissioner Roberts.
Number of CPS reports received in November, 11. Number of CPS reports screened in during the reported month of November, 12. Number of CPS reports open at the end of reported month, 14. In-home case management. The number of new in-home cases open, including assist, is 1. Number of in-home cases closed in reported month, 3. Number of in-home cases open at the end of the month, 4. Now go on to the APS section if anybody has any questions. Number of APS reports received in November, 4. Number of APS reports screened in, 3. Number of APS reports screened out during the month, 1. Number of service intakes, 0. Number of requests for service, 4. Number of 202, which is the code, APS evaluation open at the end of the reported month, that's 2. Number of 204, planning and mobilizing services, open at the end of the reported month, 6. Number of special assistance in-home cases, 2. Number of representative payees, 12. Number of wards guardianships in November, 12. Adult home specialists, number of new facility complaints in reported month is 0. Number of open ongoing facility assessments in November, 3. Number of children served by daycare subsidy, 82. Number of workforce applications received, 19. Number of workforce ongoing child only cases, 7.
Is there anything about those numbers, Elizabeth, that stand out to you that you want to point out to us? Any, I think we look at these sometimes and these are numbers, but I guess it's different when, you're in the trenches, so to speak, and you're not looking at numbers, but you're looking at people. Is there anything that stands out to you that you'd want to point out to us tonight?
Yes, I would, when I was hired, I was at the level of over 100 children in foster care. And it took everything that we had just to do the basics, home visits, and then go. With our numbers being so low, we actually have relationships with these children, and I want to say that our relationship with these children are positive relationships. We take them out to lunch, we take them to the mall, sometimes just to go and sit and talk or people watch or whatever. But I feel, and so does my staff, they all feel that a child will open up if you just take the time to be with them instead of, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna look at your house, see how you're doing, then I'm gonna leave. And so with us having such few children in foster care, we actually get a chance to do social work and meet their needs and see what their needs are and see what their wants are. And I just appreciate that we're able to do that now.
Yeah, a lot of that's good social work. Behind those good numbers is putting tools in place that families need to be able to function and keep their kids in their home, which is ultimately, I believe, what we want when when that can be successful.
I think the children of our county deserve that.
We appreciate you coming tonight. Did anybody have any further questions for Miss Elizabeth? She came on a pretty short notice, so
Thank you.
I heard Sean was gonna be out and I wanted to bring in somebody that's kind of responsible for a lot of these numbers, so. Elizabeth always does great work on their whole team does great work for us, for the citizens of Mitchell County and our children, and are always willing to do whatever needs to be done. I've seen it myself and can't say enough positive things about the folks we have up there. So thank you, Elizabeth. Sorry to ask you to come in
I'll do it again. Thank you.
As Taylor mentioned, Tammy is not with us tonight. She'll update us on the financials for next meeting. Is there a need for a closed session on that? Board comments, Commissioner Hardy?
Good.
Commissioner Roberts?
Oh, I have a question, just because, my sister went to the foster care training. How do we determine what the training looks like for a foster care parent? Because it varies from county to county.
I think that, I think there's options, and I think the county can choose what they wish to do and which. I think the MAP training, but then there's other things to add with that. I think there's some that have classes all together, like series of classes. Then there's some like Donna is still going into the home to do one-on-one, but then pulling them together for like quarterly meetings or whatever. So I think it's really up to the county what they choose to use.
Is the curriculum different? I mean, can there be I guess curriculum, I don't know what I'd call that.
I know there's different modules, so that might be where people think it's a different program. There are different modules, different learning.
So I know Mitchell County's divided up into modules, you know, and she does meet, because, you know, Savannah and them had gone through that first one. But then when that didn't work out and they had to move it somewhere else, you know, where they're doing it now it was not in modules like that, it was different. And so I didn't know if it was, if each county could determine, you know, what criteria that they wanted to cover, or, I mean, that was just a
I'm
question
sure
I
there
had for
is
sure.
mandated criteria, you know, that they have to cover
Sure.
a, outline per se. But how it's done, so I don't know the, you know, exact answer on that, but I can find out.
I know that first book that they were given, it put them quite a bit ahead when they went into, you know, the other county.
Mhm.
And so I was just curious. I didn't know how that exactly worked out.
I can definitely find out more about that.
I was just, I don't know. No big deal. I was just curious. It's interesting.
Commissioner Masters.
Oh, no comments, I'm not.
And I don't really have a comment, but just a question. Me and Wendy were speaking last week about the agenda and what we have on it. And, you know, I wanted to get some feedback, or if there's something specific that you guys want to see, or any kind of variation, we can definitely accommodate. We try to have some different people come from different departments to kind of give an update, but we're willing to do, you know, whatever the board wants as far as the agenda. So I'll just, leave you with that, and if there's something you want to see different, don't hesitate, we'll make it happen. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Oh, who's second?
Second.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to give this
That
hammer
hammer-
up, man.
that
It's
hammer
stuck with my
second,
hands.
I heard it.
It's meant to, the hammers went